beautiful world, and welcome to today's video. I'm going to be talking with you about some of the common signs and symptoms that you might be experiencing that could mean that you have endometriosis. Now, if this is your first time ever clicking on a video on my channel, I want to welcome you. My name is Kathleen. You can call me Kat. I upload videos here on YouTube every Monday through Friday that primarily focus on female health, anti-aging, wellness, nutrition, fitness, beauty, and just how to have a healthy and balanced lifestyle. If this is something that you're interested in, I do encourage you to hit that subscribe button and become part of my community, and make sure you ring that notification bell so that way you are notified of any and all videos I upload here on YouTube. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Due to the fact that there are many women that are suffering silently with endometriosis and that are misdiagnosed, they are undiagnosed, or they have underlying conditions that are contributing or are part of endometriosis, there has been an increased amount of awareness and education through different awareness programs, all on social media, just everywhere, which is really geared towards informing women and letting them know what the signs and symptoms are of endometriosis and what steps you should take to get properly diagnosed. Now, in a nutshell, endometriosis in and of itself is a condition in which the normal endometrial tissue that lines the uterus begins to grow and develop outside of the uterus. Now, these displaced endometrial tissues still operate and function just like those normal endometrial tissues that line the uterus, and they're still on that same menstrual cycle. So that means that they are still growing and they are still shedding, and that is what causes a lot of the pain, the inflammation, and can contribute to the development of scars and adhesions in the affected areas. While endometriosis signs and symptoms can vary from person to person and can be completely different, where some women that have endometriosis actually display no signs and symptoms at all, and other women with endometriosis display many or multiple signs and symptoms of endometriosis. It's important to make sure that you're taking notice and that you're tracking any abnormal symptoms that are occurring during your menstrual cycle. Now, these are some key things that you should be on the lookout for, and some key things that maybe you should talk or just sit down and think about. And if you have been experiencing these particular issues, or you've had experiences with these particular signs and symptoms, this may be time for you to schedule an appointment with your gynecologist and dig a little deeper and find out exactly what's going on. Are you experiencing chronic pelvic pain at random intervals throughout your menstrual cycle? Are you noticing that you have intense pelvic pain right before your period starts and it lasts throughout your entire period, but it gets better or it fades after your period ends? Another common sign or symptom is experiencing pain during intercourse. So do you notice that intercourse has become particularly painful or discomforting for you, and that you feel cramping either during intercourse or directly after intercourse? Or have you noticed that perhaps you're experiencing some spotting or some bleeding after intercourse? These should be some things that you will want to look into, or some symptoms that you want to definitely talk about with your gynecologist. What about cramping during your bowel movements? Are you noticing that you're experiencing cramping during your bowel movements? And does this cramping occur primarily during your period? Is it occurring randomly throughout the month? This is also something that you want to track and make note of. Now, have you noticed, or do you find that you experience pain during your pelvic examinations? And when I mean pain during your pelvic examinations, I'm not just talking about it being slightly uncomfortable when you get a pelvic examination or awkward. I'm talking about it's actually unpleasant and it's painful. Like, it's noticeably painful. Is that something that you're experiencing? Do you also notice that after your pelvic examination that you have spotting or bleeding afterwards? These are things that you need to take note of. Are you struggling with infertility? Have you been trying for at least a year to become pregnant, or perhaps it's even been a year or longer to become pregnant and it's just not happening for you, it's just not working out. Now, if you are 35 and older, have you been trying for 6 months or more to become pregnant and it's just not working out for you? This could be a sign or symptom that you definitely want to talk with your doctor about and address this issue. Do you experience painful periods? And when I mean painful periods, I mean abnormally painful periods. And with these type of periods, there is no over-the-counter medication that can help give you relief from your cramps or the symptoms that you're experiencing. You have intense pelvic pain, intense cramping, cramps that feel like they're all the way in your low back. It's just very intensive, and they can also make you feel nauseous and sick to your stomach. So is your pain level on a scale of 1 to 10 a 10? If that's something that you're experiencing, this is again a sign or symptom that you're going to want to track and log. It's also important to note that if you find, or if your painful periods have just begun out of the blue and you've never had an issue with painful periods before in the past, it's definitely important that you discuss this with your doctor or your gynecologist. Have you been struggling with heavier than normal menstrual flow? And when I mean heavier than normal, I mean, do you find that you have to change your tampon every hour to 2 hours? Even if it is a super or a super plus absorbency tampon, you still have to change it every hour to every 2 hours. Are you finding that with your pads, if you're using pads, that you're having to change them every hour or every 30 minutes? These are things that you're wanting to make note of. Also, are you experiencing spotting in between periods accompanied by intense pelvic pain? This is also something that you're going to want to log and track and make note of. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms on a regular basis and you find that you have been experiencing these signs and symptoms, I would say for a period of 6 months or more, this is definitely time that you sit down and you schedule an appointment with your gynecologist and you work on creating a journal or writing down all of these symptoms when they first begin to occur, if they have been increasing in severity, how long this has been a problem for you. You also want to make note of your personal health history, your menstrual history, your sexual history, and I would also encourage you to talk with your mother and talk with your siblings just to see if they have experienced anything similar, if they have had any reproductive health issues such as endometriosis that they have struggled with or that they have dealt with. And this is important because in a lot of cases, endometriosis is hereditary, and if your mother experienced endometriosis or you have a sibling that experienced endometriosis, chances are you may have issues with endometriosis as well. So it's important to compile all of this information, to get it all down or write it down and have it in a centralized location so that when you do go to visit with your gynecologist, you can discuss everything with them. You can let them know about all the signs and symptoms you've been experiencing, how they have increased, how they have changed, and you can give them a full background of your complete medical and health history. So that is all for today's video. I hope that you find this information helpful and insightful, and that if you find that you're experiencing any of these signs and symptoms, I hope that this encourages you to schedule an appointment with your gynecologist so that you can get checked out and see exactly what is going on. Now, if you enjoyed this and if you found this helpful, please give me a thumbs up. That does help me out a lot, so that way more women that are perhaps experiencing some of the similar signs and symptoms can become aware and they can talk with their doctor and find out exactly what is going on. If you enjoy the content that I create here on this channel, do me a favor and subscribe and become part of my community, and make sure you ring that notification bell so you do not miss any of the videos I upload here. So until next time, here's to redefining health and staying forever young. Bye.